Why didn't David kill King Saul when he had the perfect chance? When Saul lay helpless, fast asleep, surrounded by his soldiers, completely vulnerable. This question takes us deep into the heart of David's character, his faith, and the painful season he lived through before the crown ever touched his head. Today, we're not just talking about one moment in a cave or a camp. We're talking about years of waiting, running, betrayal, fear, and trust in God, while being hunted by the very King David once served loyally. Before David was king, he was a shepherd, unknown, overlooked, and underestimated. Yet God saw him. When Samuel anointed David as the future king of Israel, David didn't immediately step into power. Instead, his life became harder. He returned to tending sheep. He fought Goliath. He served Saul faithfully. He played music to calm Saul's tormented spirit. And yet, the more God was with David, the more Saul grew jealous. Saul saw something in David that terrified him: God's favor. Saul didn't just dislike David, he tried to kill him. Saul threw spears at David. Saul sent David into dangerous battles hoping he'd die. Saul chased David across the wilderness like an animal. David lost his home, he lost his wife, he lost safety, he lost peace. Imagine being anointed by God but sleeping in caves, chosen for the throne but living as a fugitive. Then came the moment. In 1 Samuel 26, Saul enters the camp and falls into a deep sleep. God causes everyone around him to sleep too. David walks right into the heart of Saul's camp. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't luck. From a human perspective, this looked like divine permission. David's men even said, "God has delivered your enemy into your hands." The spear was there. The water jug was there. One move, and the nightmare would end. So why didn't David kill Saul? David refused to touch the Lord's anointed, even though Saul was wrong, even though Saul was wicked, even though Saul was trying to kill him. David understood something powerful. God put Saul in authority, and God would remove him in his own time. David said, "As surely as the Lord lives, the Lord himself will strike Saul, or his time will come and he will die, or he will go into battle and perish." David trusted God's justice more than his own hands. David could have ended his suffering instantly, but he chose character over convenience. Killing Saul might have solved the problem, but it would have corrupted David's heart and disqualified him spiritually. David knew he could not step into God's promise by sin. He could not fix injustice by becoming unjust. He could not rush God's timing without paying a price. David didn't want the throne if it meant disobeying God. What looked like delay was actually preparation. God was shaping David's heart in caves, in loneliness, in betrayal, and in fear. David learned mercy before becoming king. David learned patience before ruling people. David learned restraint before holding power. A king without restraint becomes a tyrant. Saul was obsessed with protecting his position. David was obsessed with pleasing God. Saul acted from fear. David acted from faith. That is the difference. David trusted that what God promised, God would perform, without shortcuts. Many of us face our own Sauls, people who wrong us, people who block us, people who hurt us unfairly, and sometimes we are given opportunities to get even. But David's life teaches us not to destroy what God is still dealing with, not to force doors God has not opened, not to trade integrity for relief. What God has for you does not require you to sin to get it. David never killed Saul, and yet David still became king, not by rebellion, not by violence, but by faithfulness. When Saul fell, it was not by David's hand, it was by God's judgment. And when David finally sat on the throne, his hands were clean. David's greatest victory was not Goliath. It was the moment he chose obedience when revenge was easy. That is what made him a man after God's own heart. If you like the story, type amen and subscribe.